What's up, guys? It's finally here. Week 1 of NFL regular season. We have the Chiefs and Chargers playing in South America in the rarely seen Friday night NFL football action here on September 5th. We're going to do a deep dive into the game. We'll give you our favorite plays on the side and over-under, and also we're going to cover the entire MLB slate here on a very, very busy Friday, so buckle up. We've got a great video for you today. Slam that like button and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep seeing these videos every single day, and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I personally read and answer every comment I get. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and starters being confirmed. Yesterday, guys, we did have a big delay there in the Eagles-Cowboys game. We're on the Cowboys plus 8.5, and so far they are very live in that one. The Eagles do have the ball there in the fourth quarter, up by 4 points, but they're on their own 23-yard line, so maybe we'll be okay there. Jalen Hurts' over on passing yards is still alive. We had the Brewers. That was a bit of a disappointment, guys. They come out and take the loss there. They wasted a great start from Peralta that he only gave up 2 hits and 0 runs while striking out 8 over his 5 innings, but the bullpen gave up 2, and somehow the Brewers couldn't manage a single run on 7 hits and couldn't get anything off the very hittable Phillies bullpen. We did catch the Rays at minus 145, a pretty comfortable 4-2 win that saw Cleveland take all the way until the top of the ninth to get on the board at all. Pepio was a monster over his 5 innings, and while Allen wasn't terrible for the Guardians, the Rays hit the ball well, and the bullpen was lights out until Fairbanks came in and gave up 2 solo home runs. We still have the White Sox live at plus 125, and they are very, very live, currently up 9-7 in the top of the 7th inning with a runner on second and nobody out. So the dog of the day on the White Sox looks like they might bring it home for us once again. We also cashed the Yankees at minus 135 as our massive lock of the day. A nice 8-4 win behind a monster offensive game, and we see the Yankees somehow win despite having 3 errors and getting out hit 10-9 by Houston. Christian Javier was bad, but the Yankees defense and bullpen did almost enough to make this game interesting, but regardless, we'll take the 8-4 win. We're not going to complain about that. Also, a very nice winning day over there on the premium side, so we'll break that all down here in a little bit, but first up, guys, we got to dive into another NFL game. The NFL spoiling us right out of the gates. Games on consecutive days, and we're going to be looking at that matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers happening down there in South America. The Chiefs come into this game and into this season probably feeling pretty decent about themselves. Obviously did not have the showing they had hoped for in the Super Bowl last year, but I'm sure they have full confidence in their ability to make it back. Making the Super Bowl in 3 straight seasons, pretty much crazy. They're favorites to make it yet again. They haven't missed the playoffs since back in 2014. Mahomes obviously having a good, everything is pointed up for him heading here towards the season. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the NFL, and obviously one of the best quarterback coach duos maybe in the history of the NFL. We'll see. The offensive line, maybe some issues there. A little bit uncertainty around Rashee Rice. I mean, obviously he's going to be missing some time here, but with Mahomes on the field, they've honestly never had to put that talented of a group around him, at least not the last couple seasons, and he finds a way to get it done. And I think we could see something very similar to that this year. I think we're going to see Mahomes be very, very good out there. Will maybe a little bit of a bounce back season coming in for him this year because, last year, a little bit pedestrian given, obviously the insanely high standard that he's set for himself over the course of his still relatively young career, which is insane to think about. Now, on defense, losing Justin Reed, not great. We'll see. It's still one of the better defenses under Steve Spagnuolo. The Chiefs have one of the best linebacker groups out there. Definitely very, very solid. Chris Jones, one of the best pass rushers in the league. I'm expecting good stuff from him. Also, plenty of deflections from him as well. That can be a big, big deal. Will it be a bบdeal in this game going up against Herbert? I don't think it's impossible. He is a pretty big guy, but it's definitely not impossible. I do worry about the offensive line for the Chiefs. If they're bad, you guys remember what we saw in the Super Bowl, right? Like Mahomes just constantly buried under a pile of Eagles. We'll see if that happens in this one. They're not going up against the easiest defense, I will say that. So relatively healthy for the Chiefs coming into the beginning of the season. I'm sure they have very high expectations. Getting things started off here in a very important game against these LA Chargers. They had a really good year last year, winning 11 games. Not exactly what they were hoping would happen in the playoffs there, but Harbaugh got to feel good about, first season, 11 wins. That's pretty solid. Definitely being considered a contender there in the AFC this year. We'll see what happens. Herbert, not an old quarterback, obviously has done some very positive stuff over the course of his career, but I'm a little bit worried. Bringing in Najee Harris was supposed to help, but he's had one of the weirdest off seasons in recent history. We'll see what Hampton can do. A very solid first-round pick. Hopefully McConkey had an amazing rookie season, so they're hoping that he will take the next step. That could be a very big deal. Trey Harris adding depth there at the wide receiver position. That is certainly helpful. And obviously, The offensive line should be getting better. They're bringing in Becton, a Super Bowl champion. That's pretty helpful to bring in a very solid offensive line. So, yeah, the Chargers are going to want to run the ball a lot. We'll see how that goes, especially against a team like the Chiefs, who had a very good defense a year ago. So, we'll see. We'll see if they're able to run the ball the way they want to. Defensively, Khalil Mack is back for another season. Henley, a very solid young linebacker they're bringing in. We'll see how the defensive line stuff goes. Obviously, Derwin James is a monster, but we'll see what the defensive line looks like there for the Chargers. We'll see. They should be pretty solid offensively. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Arguably one of the best coaches in the league, depending on where you stand there on Harbaugh. They should be able to, put themselves probably in good shape to make the playoffs this year. We'll see how it actually goes here. Looking at, some trends and some numbers for this game. The Chargers are getting 3. We got a total of 46.5. Something we definitely want to look at in this game, not necessarily the weather, because it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Relatively mild temperatures, gentle wind, but we're playing this one at an elevation of nearly 2,600 feet there in South America. Definitely going to have an impact on this game. It's not mile high, but it's certainly something you can't ignore. Both teams, I think, are going to end up a little bit gassed in this game at some point. So looking at the trends from last year, the Kansas City, they were 9-11 against the spread on the year, 11-9 to the under. The Chargers are 12-6 against the spread last season, a 500 over-under team. In terms of the side, guys, things we definitely have to consider. Mahomes, at less than 3 or an underdog, is always a good lean historically speaking. The Chargers defense is excellent, though. We really don't know what we're going to get from Herbert necessarily, although, we'll see. Usually, he doesn't win these kind of games. He usually plays really well in the first half, maybe the first 3 quarters, and then does something really dumb down the stretch. But he's getting 3 points. This could go up to 3.5 as we see public money come in on the Chiefs closer to game time. Herbert's 11-2-1 against the spread when a underdog of 3.5 points or greater. I think being in Brazil makes this much more of an even playing field especially for a Chargers team that gets almost no actual home field advantage. And yeah, this should be pretty neutral. The Chiefs obviously have an amazing home field advantage. Well, that's not going to be the case in this one. I expect the public, like I was saying, to come in on the Chiefs pretty big in the standalone game, and if the spread to move to that 3.5. If it does, you're going to have to, whether you like it or not, probably get something down on the Chiefs getting 3.5 points. Now, in terms of that total of 46.5, I think I'm going to lean towards the under. Obviously, what we saw in the Eagles-Dallas game looking a lot different than an underplay, but I think the under is actually good in this one based on both the teams being very good defensively. I don't think that's really a question. I expect both of these squads to be very, very solid on defense. I also expect both teams to want to run the ball quite a bit here, so that's going to keep the clock moving. A lack of offense overall. I think we see an underplay in this one, and I think it's fairly reasonable. But now that we've looked at this Kansas City Chiefs LA Chargers game in depth, we're going to go ahead and jump over. We've got a full slate of MLB action to cover for you guys here on a very busy Friday. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that right after we take a brief second here and shout out the sponsor of today and every day's video, and that is stumpthespread.com. Click the link down there in the description to go over to stumpthespread.com and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily MLB, UFC, NFL, and college football picks. Major League Baseball has been great. NFL has been great. We're very, very excited. NFL's 1-0 on the season. That's nice. College football has been coming along, looking much, much better after getting some really bad beats out of the way there early in the season. Very, very exciting stuff going on over there at Stump the Spread right now. And coming off a very, very solid day there yesterday, going 3-1 overall. On September 1st, hit that no-run first inning on the White Sox-Minnesota game, and we see the White Sox still up 2 runs, so hopefully we can hang on and cash that for ourselves as well. The Dodgers-Pittsburgh no-run first inning, that was a nice 1-unit win. The Brewers did burn them a little bit. That 1-unit play on Milwaukee, them getting shut out by the Phillies, was not something I personally saw either. But on the NFL side, didn't have a play on the side, although the email pick was to take the Cowboys in the points. Aubrey, over 1.5 field goals made, was an easy 1-unit cash there. He came through with the win on that play. I think it happened not even all the way through, it was at the very end of the second quarter he kicked that last field goal, or his second field goal. So a nice win there. A 3-1 day, some solid units printed there for the premium members. Guys, you got to go over there to stumpthespread.com, check out the premium section. It's great value. Great information there every single day. A ton of work goes in from our entire team of experienced cappers covering each individual sport, and the amount of work that those guys put in on a daily basis and the tools they use, the amount of different data points they're taking into consideration on every single play kind of mind-blowing. You also want to get over there to get on our free email list. There are also free picks posted at stumpthespread.com, but the free email list is great, up-to-date information straight to your inbox every single day. At least one free pick, oftentimes 2 free picks in every single email. Information on niche sports betting like golf, tennis, NASCAR. I know we just cashed a big tennis player randomly the other day. That was crazy. But just great information in there, and all they need is your name and your email address to sign up. You go over to stumpthespread.com, set up a free account, and you are good to go. You might want to check your spam folder if you're having issues getting those emails, but you shouldn't have any problems, guys. It's a fantastic resource. Parlays are also included in those emails. So get over there to stumpthespread.com and check that out. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us every single day, you want to click that little join button right below the video to become a YouTube channel member. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get their name up on screen in every single video, but more importantly, get access to our members only giveaways. Here on the 8th, we're going to be giving away another Stump the Spread hoodie. We just sent one out to one of our guys. Go check in the comments and you'll see, but we've been sending out a hoodie every single week, even if the giveaway goes unclaimed. If you're a channel member, you get down there in the comments. I see you down in the comments often. I'll just hit you up in the comments and be like, hey, you want a free hoodie, and I'll mail it straight to your house. So definitely become a channel member if you're interested in that, interested in being in those giveaways that we do every single week. But guys, we got to dive right back in. We've got a ton of MLB to cover on a very, very full slate out there. And first up on the MLB slate, we've got our lone afternoon game of the day. We've got the Washington Nationals heading to Chicago to take on the Cubs. The Nationals come into this game fresh off of a sweep of the Miami Marlins. They won all 3 games there, winning 10-5 in game 3. They're going to try and keep things going here, I suppose. Even though they're out of the mix, they're going to hand the ball in this one to Jake Irvin, who's 8-10 on the season, a 5.42 ERA. His last couple of starts, I guess, haven't been, well, that was a disaster against the Phillies. His last time on the mound, 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs against Tampa Bay. Not the worst when you look at what he's done recently, but do I expect him to have a good time against the Chicago Cubs? The last time he faced them, he went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits and 3 earned runs in a home start. Now he's got to pitch at Wrigley. Not exactly holding my breath for a great outing here from Jake Irvin. The Nationals bullpen's been the worst bullpen in the majors all year long, so that's not a huge surprise to see them struggle. And the offense, well, 10-5-2 over their last few is pretty hot hitting for a team that's 24th in runs scored and 25th in slugging percentage. But, they hit the ball well yesterday, so we'll see if they can do that again here against the Cubs, who at 5.5 games back there in the NL Central, but feeling probably pretty secure in their wild card position at the moment. I mean, right now we see the Cubs are currently, 5 games up. I think they're going to be okay there in the wild card hunt. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Javier Assad. He's 1-1 on the year, a 4.05 ERA. He's coming off a decent start against the Rockies, but 6 innings, 7 hits, and 3 earned runs against the Rockies doesn't exactly make me think you're amazing, but he threw the ball really well the 2 starts before that. But that was against the Angels and the Pirates. So we'll see what he does here against the generally weak hitting Washington Nationals. I think he's going to be fine. I think the Cubs bullpen's going to be fine, especially in this matchup, although they've had some bumps in the road down the stretch. The offense for the Cubs has just not been the same since the All-Star break. And now we see Tucker going out there with that tight calf after hitting a home run. That's pretty brutal to, hurt your calf on a home run. But we'll see what they look like. They've been one of the better offenses in the majors this year, but recently it just hasn't looked the same. So looking at the numbers here, guys, the Nationals are plus 185. The Cubs are minus 225. We've got a total of 10.5 in this game. The Nationals are 27-41 on the road, 34-29-5 to the over on the road. The Cubs are 43-24 at home, 33-28-6 to the under at home. I mean, I do think the Cubs will probably win this game. I don't think there's enough value in taking them minus 225, so you'd have to take them minus 1.5, which is fine with me, but I don't think it's a spot that I'm in love with. And in terms of that total, I would lean slightly towards the under, but once again, nothing from this game is making the pin comment. Next on the docket, we've got the Chicago White Sox heading to Detroit to take on the Tigers. The White Sox look like they're going to pull this one out for us. It's the top of the 8th, and they're up by 2, so hopefully they can. That would actually be their 5th straight win, which is kind of bonkers when you see this team beat 52-88 on the year. They're going to hand the ball in this game to Shane Smith. He's 4-7 this season, a 3.81 ERA, coming off another very solid outing. Good stuff there against the Yankees. 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, both solo home runs, and it was eventually a 5-3 loss there for the White Sox in extra innings. Shane Smith's been throwing the ball really well down the stretch. The last time he faced the Tigers was back on August 13th, and he only gave up 2 hits and no runs over 5 innings. That was a game the White Sox lost 1-0, but that was very, very good work. The White Sox bullpen, maybe a little bit better here recently, but over the course of the year, very much below average there in the MLB. And the offense, while they've hit the ball better over this current winning streak, it hasn't been amazing. I mean, 9 in their current game, awesome, but 4, 12, 6, and 3. They're hitting the ball great. They're 26th in the majors in runs scored this year. They're 28th in batting average. These numbers are going to head back in that direction very, very quickly. Will that happen in this game? definitely possible. They are playing much, much later there in Minnesota than they were planning on, but the trip to Detroit isn't exactly a brutal one. The Tigers come into this game still with a 9.5 game cushion there in the AL Central, but not playing their best. They just lost 2 out of 3 against the Mets. They'll hand the ball in this one to Jack Flaherty, who's 7-13 on the season, a 4.74 ERA. His last outing was a great one against the Royals, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, but we do see the Tigers take the 3-1 loss. He got shelled by the Royals to start for that. The last time he faced the White Sox, he got obliterated. So I'm a little bit worried about this spot for Jack Flaherty. I'm also a little bit worried about pretty much every spot for that Tigers bullpen, although I say that they've been getting a little bit better, but obviously having a terrible time, in a few different spots here recently. So we'll see what happens there. The offense has also kind of tailed off a little bit, vaguely similar to what the Cubs have gone through. They're still 8th in runs scored and 11th in batting average, but 6, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, and 0 over their last few is not exactly top tier offensive production. So looking at the numbers for this game, the White Sox are plus 160. The Tigers are minus 190. We've got a total of 8.5. Are we really going to run it back on another game, taking the Chicago White Sox as our dog of the day? Guys, I'd be lying to you if I said I thought it was impossible. We really might be on the White Sox in this one at plus 160. They're playing their best ball of the season. They're going up against a pitcher they destroyed only a couple weeks ago. Shane Smith's going to be on the mound for this one, and he's been throwing the ball great and has success against the Tigers. I don't know, guys. We might have to take the White Sox in this one. Rolling right along, we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. The Brewers come into this game 86-55 on the year, but they did lose 3 out of their last 4. That being said, they've got a 5.5 game cushion in the NL Central, so I'm sure they're not too stressed. They'll hand the ball in this one to Quinn Priester, who's 11-2 on the year, a 3.28 ERA. His last start, great work there against the Toronto Blue Jays. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 unearned run allowed. He struck out 3 and walked 0 in a 4-1 win. We see the Brewers, guys. It's just been insanely good when this kid's on the mound. They've won, what is it up to now? 15, 16 in a row? Such crazy. It's just insane. The last time they faced the Pirates was the last time that he lost as a starter, and he went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, and 1 earned run in a 2-1 loss. I'm expecting Priester to go out there and be great. That's what he does pretty much every start. The Brewers' bullpens looked much better down the stretch, a 3.83 bullpen ERA. Nothing too bad there. Obviously getting shut out yesterday, not the norm for this offense. It's been very good this year. 2nd in runs scored, 2nd in batting average, getting on base at a 333 clip. That is also 2nd in the majors. So a lot of positives for the Brewers lining up as they head into this game against the Pirates. First place versus last place there in the NL Central. Pittsburgh, 64-77 on the year. They just somehow swept the Dodgers. Crazy work there. Would not have seen them winning 3 straight that way. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Johan Oviedo. He's 2-0 on the season, a 3.60 ERA, and has been throwing the ball really, really well. The kid's only made 4 starts, and his first one only lasted 1 inning. But since then, he's settled down. Great work against Toronto, good work against St. Louis, and very solid 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs against Boston his last time on the mound. So even against a team as good as the Brewers, I think he could go out there and have a pretty good outing. The Pirates bullpen, kind of a different story. A 4.11 bullpen ERA. Not ideal, although, had a pretty good series there against the Dodgers, so maybe they're going to be fine. The offense, 5-3-9 in that series. Honestly, very solid offense for a team that's last in runs scored and last in slugging percentage. So we'll see what they're able to do in this one. Looking at the numbers, the Brewers are minus 155. The Pirates are plus 135. We got a total of 8.5 in this game. Milwaukee is 40-29 on the road. That's actually an MLB best road mark. 33-33 and 3 to the over-under on the road. The Pirates are 41-30 at home. 37-32 and 2 to the under at home. There are a couple plays that I think are very solid from this game. First up, I like under 8.5. I think that's some pretty solid value. I don't think either one of these guys are going to give a ton of runs. I also think you might want to take a look at no run first inning in this spot. I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense right off the bat. In terms of a side, I will lean slightly towards the Brewers. The Pirates, maybe the magic ends after that last win against the Dodgers, but no major lean on the side. I think the unders are the way you want to go. Cruising right along, we've got the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets did lose their last game, falling 6-2 at Detroit, but won 2 out of 3 in that series. They're 6 games back of the Phillies in terms of the the lead there in the division, but in the wild card hunt, they're 4 games up on the San Francisco Giants. So I'm sure they feel fairly secure handing the ball here to David Peterson, who's 8-5 on the year, a 3.61 ERA. His last time out, though, he got absolutely shelled by the Marlins. So he finds himself in a bit of a bounce back situation here going up against the Reds. The last time he faced Cincinnati, it was right after the All-Star break, and he was great. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 unearned run allowed, and a 3-2 win. So we'll see if he can replicate, something like that here going up against the Reds. He will be pitching at the Great American Ballpark, so we'll see how that goes. I am worried about the Mets bullpen. They have not been nearly as good down the stretch. That's been a huge pain point for this team down the stretch this year. The offense, though, has turned it on. 2, 12, 10, 1, 8, and 19 over their last few games. We're seeing Soto hit the ball better. Pete Alonso's been hitting the ball well. They're 9th in runs scored. They're 4th in on-base percentage. They're 6th in slugging percentage. The Mets are officially a scary team at the plate once again. So we'll see what they do here in Cincinnati. The Reds are down to 500 on the year. It's been pretty tough to watch them fade like this. They're 5 games back now in the National League wildcard hunt. Laying the ball in this one to Andrew Abbott, who's 8-5 on the year, a 2.65 ERA. His last start was against the Cardinals in 5 innings, 3 hits, and 2 earned runs. Not a bad look. He did walk 4, but also struck out 7. The end result, though, was a 4-2 loss there for Cincinnati. He got shelled by the Diamondbacks the last time he faced, the start before that. So we'll see what he looks like here against the Mets. He did pitch against them also right after the All-Star break. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. So pretty solid work, albeit in a 3-2 loss. So we'll see what happens here with Abbott. The Reds bullpen kind of on the same level as the Mets bullpen right now, if I'm being honest. The offense, 9, 9, 5, 7, and 2 over their last few. They're hitting the ball well, but the pitching isn't holding up. They're 14th in runs scored. They're 20th in slugging percentage. We'll see which version of the Reds we get in this game. The Mets come into this one minus 125. The Reds are plus 105, a total of 9. The Mets are 30-38 on the road, 33, 30, and 5 to the under on the road. The Reds are 38-32 at home. They are 40, 25, and 5 to the under at home. Once again, guys, I think we have to consider the under in this game, and with the total being 9, I think it's a pretty good value. I'll definitely be looking at the under. In terms of the side, I am going to lean towards the Mets. They're just playing better at the moment, but going up against Andrew Abbott, there's no way this makes the pinned comment. I think the under is definitely the better play. Next up, guys, we've got the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. It's being reported that Ohtani is going to pitch here on Monday, so they're bringing him back to pitch again, but he's giving him a little rest here, especially the Dodgers have to be feeling very lucky that the Padres are falling apart at the same time, because the Dodgers have lost 5 of their last 6 games, including getting swept there in Pittsburgh. They'll hand the ball in this one to Tyler Glasnow, who's 1-3 on the season, a 3.41 ERA. His last start, 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs against the Diamondbacks. The idea coming into this year would be if you gave up 3 runs as a starting pitcher for the Dodgers, you would get the win. Well, that is not what happened. Over his last 5 starts, he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in any of them, and the Dodgers are 1-4 over that span. So we'll see what happens here as he goes up against the Orioles. Not a team he's faced this year, but Glasnow, going to be needed as one of the better pitchers there for the Dodgers. Part of the problem for the Dodgers is their bullpen's not very good. That has not helped, and the offense, not disappeared. They scored 3, 0, and 7 in that series against the Pirates and managed to lose every game. They're 3rd in runs scored this year. They're 8th in batting average. They're 2nd in slugging percentage, but just don't look that scary at the plate anymore. So we'll see what they do against the Orioles. They've won 3 out of their last 4, sweeping the Padres, so kind of canceling out that whole debacle there for the Dodgers. At 64-76 on the year, they don't really have much left to play for. They'll hand the ball in this one to Dean Kremer, who's this 29-year-old is 9-10 on the year, a 4.52 ERA, but he's gotten shelled by the Giants and shelled by the Astros in his last 2 starts. Now going up against the Dodgers, kind of feels like a nightmare situation for him, if I'm being honest. He hasn't faced them this year, but looks scary. Although the Dodgers aren't hitting the ball great right now, so maybe it's not scary. Now, the bullpen for these Orioles, it's been bad this year. Definitely hasn't helped. A 4.56 bullpen ERA. And the offense, while they did look good against the Padres, scoring 7, 6, and 4 runs respectively, over the course of the year, a huge drop-off from last season. They're 21st in batting average, 22nd in on-base percentage, and not really getting too much better. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Dodgers are minus 165. The Orioles are plus 140. We've got a total of 8.5. The Dodgers are 31-35 on the road, 37-28-1 to the under on the road. Baltimore's 31-37 at home, and a 500 over-under team at home. If you want my small lean on the total, I will lean towards over 8.5, but I think this is probably a spot where we see the Dodgers find a way to get the win. Minus 165 for a team that's on a 3-game losing streak is certainly not something I'm going to put in the pinned comment, but I do think this is a likely spot. They find a way to get the win against a slumping Dean Kremer. Rapid fire through these games, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays heading to New York to take on the Yankees in a pivotal series out there in the AL East. Right now, Toronto is 3 games up on the Yankees. They just won 2 out of 3 there in Cincinnati. They're going to hand the ball in game 1 of this pivotal series to Kevin Gausman. He's 8-10 on the year, a 3.75 ERA, coming off a dazzling start there against Milwaukee where he gave up 1 run over 7 innings but still lost 4-1. He's thrown the ball really well over his last 4 starts. I guess kind of a weird start there against Miami, but overall very good. The last time he faced the Yankees, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run allowed, struck out 8 and walked 2, and a 4-1 win there back on July 21st. So I'm expecting pretty good stuff from Gausman in this start. If I'm, totally honest with you guys, I think he's going to be pretty good. The bullpen for Toronto might not be so good, guys. A 4.15 bullpen ERA is not what you want to see. The offense hitting the cover off the ball the last 2 games, scoring a combined 25 runs. They scored 13 in Game 3 and 12 in Game 2 of that series in Cincinnati. Hopefully the bats are back alive for them. They're still first in batting average and first in on-base percentage, but there was a little bit of a lull there where they weren't exactly crushing it. So they're going to be try to keep crushing it here as they go up against the Yankees, who just won 2 out of 3 against the Astros. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Cam Schlittler. They're a young, monster, they hope. He's 2-2 on the year, a 2.61 ERA, coming off an excellent start against the White Sox. We'll see what he can do here against Toronto in a very high-pressure situation. The last time he faced the Blue Jays, he was okay. It was in Toronto back on the 22nd of July. 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, walked 3, and struck out 3. So we'll see. This is a pretty high-pressure situation for a very young pitcher who might be getting used to facing terrible teams. He's pitched against the White Sox, the Nationals, the Rays, the Twins, and the Astros over his last few games. Now he's got to face maybe the scariest offense in the majors. So we'll see what he looks like. The Yankees bullpen, I will be shocked if it doesn't look terrible. A 4.32 bullpen ERA. That's been a huge problem with this team down the stretch, along with a lot of defensive problems. Chisholm being out after bruising both knees. We'll see if he even plays in this game. So definitely plenty of concerns. Offensively, the Yankees obviously are fine. 8, 7, and 7 over their last few games. Judge is hitting the ball well. They're first in runs scored. They're first in slugging percentage. This is a very dangerous offense. So look at the numbers for this game. The Blue Jays are plus 115. The Yankees are minus 135. We've got a total of 8.5. Toronto's 36 and 35 on the road, 38, 29, and 4 to the over on the road. The Yankees are 41 and 28 at home, 36, 31, and 2 to the under at home. In terms of a side, I'll definitely lean towards over 8.5. We've got a rookie going up against Gausman. I just don't think we're in 2 of the best offenses in the majors. I think we see 9 total runs in this game. I don't think that's crazy. Now, in terms of a side, I'm fading the rookie, guys. I'm fading Schlittler. I'll take Kevin Gausman and the Toronto Blue Jays here getting plus money. I don't know if this is going to be our dog of the day. There may have been a dog of the day we already liked better there in the White Sox, but I do think the Blue Jays at plus 115 have a legitimate chance to make the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. The Phillies come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. They've got a nice 6-game cushion in the NL East, so I'm sure they're feeling very good about life right now. They'll hand the ball to Christopher Sanchez, who's 11-5 on the season, a 2.66 ERA. His last couple starts have looked, one very different than the other. He got shelled by the Mets, but bounced back with a great 7 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, walked 0, and struck out 8. In a 3-2 extra inning win there against Atlanta. So very good step in the right direction. We'll see what he can do here against the Marlins, a team that he hasn't faced since back in late June, but he had an 8-inning nearly shutout performance against them in a 2-1 win. So I'm expecting really good stuff from Christopher Sanchez in this game. The Phillies bullpen, on the other hand, not expecting miracles. Over the course of the year, a 4.30 bullpen ERA. Obviously coming off a good bullpen day there yesterday. Will they have 2 good bullpen days in a row? Seems like a big ask for this team. Offensively, 2, 3, 10, 1, 3, and 2 over their last few. Not looking like that offensive juggernaut they're supposed to be. Sure, Schwarber's hit 1 million home runs. Great. They're 10th in runs scored. They're 9th in slugging percentage, 3rd in batting average, but they just don't feel very reliable. Now, we'll see what they do here against the Marlins. Obviously, a team with nothing left to play for, just getting swept there by the Nationals. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Valente Belozo. He comes into this game with a 3.91 ERA. Normally a bullpen guy. His last outing was a long bullpen appearance there against the Mets. 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, and 1 earned run is not terrible. We'll see what he can do here against the Phillies. Obviously, a kind of a different situation. The last 2 times he's faced the Phillies, honestly didn't look terrible. I'm not going to say it looked great, but didn't look terrible. So we'll see. We'll see what this young 25-year-old righty can do out there getting the start in this one. The Marlins bullpen's been a problem. A 4.32 bullpen ERA has them right down there with the Phillies, so that's not ideal. The offense, 5-2-0 in that series at the Nationals. That's not a good look. We'll see what they can do in this one, but they're 18th in runs scored. They're 21st in slugging percentage, and those numbers are not pointed in a positive direction at the moment. So Looking at the numbers for this game, the Phillies are minus 275. The Marlins are plus 220. We've got a total of 8 in this game. The Phillies are a 500 road team. They're 42-25 and 5 to the under on the road. That's actually an MLB best to the under on the road. The Marlins are 31-37 at home, 36-32 to the under at home. I don't know if I have enough faith there in the Marlins pitching situation to take the under 8. In terms of a side, I'll definitely take the Phillies, minus 275. A little bit of a, tough price, but if we're looking for a lock of the day out there, I definitely think Christopher Sanchez going up against the Marlins has to go on the list. He has such dominant history against them. He's been throwing the ball so well. The Marlins have been struggling. Definitely give me the Phillies in this one. Cruising right along here, guys. We've got the Seattle Mariners heading to Atlanta to take on the Braves. The Mariners come into this game. They just lost 3 in a row against the Rays. They're 73-67 on the year. They currently find themselves 1.5 games up on the Texas Rangers for the last wild card spot out there in the American League. They're also 3.5 games back now of Houston in the AL West race. So things not looking up here as they hand the ball to Logan Gilbert. He's 4-6 on the year, a 3.73 ERA. His last start was against the Guardians, 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs. It's not terrible, not nearly as good as he did against the Athletics. We'll see what he can do here against the Atlanta Braves. Not the scariest team to face necessarily, but not a squad with nobody there in that batting order. So we'll see what he does. The Mariners bullpen, some bumps in the road down the stretch, all the way up to a 3.87 bullpen ERA. That is not what they were hoping for. Obviously, the offense sputtering a little bit too, 4.52, 4.3, and 4 over their last few games. This team is taking great strides in the right direction at the plate this year. Obviously, having Cal Raleigh hit 51 home runs is a big part of that, but still, they're 11th in runs scored, they're 22nd in batting average, they're 16th in on-base percentage. They got to find a way to hit the ball better down the stretch. So we'll see what they do against the Braves. They come into this game 63-77 on the year. Probably very disappointed things haven't gone better. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Chris Sale. He's 5-4 this season, a 2.45 ERA. He just made a start back on the 30th of last month and was very, very good against the Phillies. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. That was obviously after missing basically a month and a half to 2 months there. We'll see. Maybe he's just, one of those guys who can just get right back on the horse and be dominant. We'll see what he does here against the Mariners. I'll be honest, I'm expecting him to be pretty freaking good, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. Now, the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves has not been amazing necessarily. 4.13 bullpen ERA leaves a lot to be desired. The offense, 5-3-6, 3-2-1 over their last few games. Matt Olson has had a very good year. They're 15th in runs scored this season. They're 10th in on-base percentage, so honestly, not a terrible offense. They've got some exciting bats out there. So looking at the numbers for this game, I guess I'm not too shocked to see the Braves be favorites. The Mariners are plus 120. The Braves are minus 140. Only minus 140 with Sale on the mound. Is this the real Chris Sale, guys? Maybe. We got a total of 7.5. The odds makers think it's the real Chris Sale. Seattle's 32-39 on the road, so not a very good road team. 40-30-1 to the over on the road. Actually, an MLB best to the over playing away from home. Atlanta's a 500 team at home. 35-27-4 to the under at home. I'm not interested in the total in this one, guys, but give me Chris Sale and the Atlanta Braves. It's minus 140. Could make the pin comment. I mean, how many more chances are we going to get to take Chris Sale here at such a reasonable price? The Mariners are struggling. Logan Gilbert can struggle pretty aggressively. Give me the Braves in this one, and it could be in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we got the Cleveland Guardians heading to Tampa Bay to take on the Rays. The Guardians come into this game fresh off a 4-2 loss in Game 1 of this series, and they're now 1 game below 500, 3.5 games back there in the American League wildcard hunt. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Gavin Williams, who's 9-5 on the season, a 3.26 ERA. This young 26-year-old's coming off a great bounce-back start there against the Mariners. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run allowed in a 4-3 win. So very, very good stuff there. We'll see what he can do here against Tampa Bay. Obviously, Cleveland needs to win every game they possibly can. So does Tampa Bay, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll see. I don't think he's faced the Rays this year. No, he has not faced Tampa Bay this season. So we'll see what Gavin Williams can do. Obviously, the bullpen backing him up has been excellent this year. A 3.62 bullpen ERA there for the Guardians. Very, very elite stuff. The offense, well, elite might not be the right word. I mean, 2-8-7. 4-2-4 over their last few isn't incredible. Obviously, Jose Ramirez is doing what he can to carry this team, but at 27th in runs scored, last in batting average, last on base percentage, and second to last in slugging percentage, not necessarily an offense to be feared. So we'll see what they do here on the road against the Rays, who have now won 7 straight games. They're 71-69 on the season. They're currently only 2 games back of the Mariners in the wild card hunt in the American League. They're going to hand the ball to Ian Seymour. He's sporting a 2.97 ERA, coming off a middle-of-the-road start there against the Nationals. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, one of which was earned allowed. He also struck out 8. His last start against Cleveland was back on the 25th of August, so not long ago. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs allowed, struck out 8 and walked 1 in a 9-0 win. Seems like a pretty good spot here for Seymour, if I do say so myself. Now, the bullpen for Tampa Bay, a 3.68 bullpen ERA has them right there in the same echelon as Cleveland, so that kind of a push there. And the offense, they're in the ball pretty well. 4-9-6, 10-7-4 over their last few. Definitely nice steps in the right direction for a team that was looking like a top 10 offense there for quite a while and then struggled for a bit. Seems like they found their swings again. So looking at the numbers here, guys, the Guardians are plus 115. The Rays are minus 135. We've got a total of 8 in this game. Cleveland's 34-36 on the road. 35-30-5 to the under on the road. Tampa Bay's 37-33 at home, 35-31-4 to the under at home. I'm not too interested in the total here, maybe lean slightly under, but I definitely like Tampa Bay here at home against Gavin Williams. I mean, he hasn't faced them this season, so we'll see how it goes, but I definitely think Ian Seymour is in a good spot in this game, and I expect the Rays bats to stay hot. Next up, we got the Minnesota Twins going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals, and you love to see it, guys. We just cashed our play there on Dallas plus 8.5. They take the loss 20-24. We'll take that cover all the way to the bank. You love to see it. Unfortunately, we did not cash our lean there on Jalen Hurts' over on passing yards, but the side always going to be more important than the props to us. So looking at this game between the Twins and the Royals, the Twins come into this one trying to avoid a 4th straight loss to the White Sox, but it's going to be pretty tough. They're down 11-7, and the White Sox have the bases loaded have the bases loaded in the top of the 9th. So looking pretty bleak. They're going to hand the ball in this game to Joe Ryan, hoping to turn over a new leaf here in a new series. He's had a good year, 13-7, a 3.08 ERA, shut out the Padres his last time on the mound, and now he's taking on a Royals team that he had a good start against back on the 8th of last month. So we'll see how that goes. I'm expecting him to be pretty good, but maybe not dominant. He's had his struggle this year for sure. The Twins bullpen's been atrocious. That's not news to anyone at this point. In the offense, I mean, they put up 7 runs and are still going to lose this game. They've scored 7, 3, 3, 5, 7, and 3 over their last few. Not a great offense, down to 25th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in on-base percentage. You get the picture, guys. This team does not have much left to play for. The Royals, on the other hand, do still have plenty to play for. They're a couple games above 500. They just had a rough series there against the Angels, but they're only 2 games back in the American League wildcard hunt, so they're definitely still very much in the mix. They'll hand the ball to Michael Wacha, who's 8-11 on the year, a 3.52 ERA, coming off a couple mediocre starts against the Tigers. Both of them are against the Tigers. Neither one was amazing. He did have a good start before that against the Rangers. We'll see what he can do here against the Twins. Not necessarily the scariest outfit to face right now. He had a little bit of trouble against them back in May. 5 innings, 7 hits, and 4 earned runs in a 5-4 loss. But I'm expecting him to throw the ball a little bit better in this one, at least perhaps. The Royals bullpen, very good. A 3.61 bullpen ERA has in the top 4 in the majors right now, so that's something nice to lean on with Wacha in the mound. Obviously, they needed Bobby Witt Jr.'s 8th inning home run to help them avoid the sweep there, but they need a little bit more. They need a little bit more offense just in general. They're 28th in runs scored. They're 25th in on-base percentage. This team has to be better at the plate down the stretch if they want to make the postseason. So, looking at the numbers for this one, the Twins are plus 118. The Royals are minus 140. We've got a total of 8 out there. Minnesota's 27-42 on the road. 35-31-3 to the under on the road. The Royals are 37-34 at home, 44-26-1 to the under at home, with trends from both teams towards the under and pretty significant ones. I do think under 8 is a reasonable play. In terms of the side, I don't have a whole lot I like here. I'm maybe going to lean just slightly towards the Royals at home, but I do think the over is the better, or under. I do think the under is the better value. Next on the docket, we've got the San Francisco Giants heading to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. The Giants come into this game playing well, winners of 4 in a row. They're 71-69 on the year, trying to put themselves in the mix in the wildcard hunt. They're 4 games back of the Mets, so still drawing live here as they hand the ball to Carson Seymour. This 26-year-old sporting a 4.74 ERA, coming off a pretty bad start there against the Orioles. His first start, maybe this season, or at least his first start recently. We'll see how he looks. I'm not expecting miracles from him, but I do expect the Giants bullpen to be excellent. A 3.32 bullpen ERA is very, very solid. The offense has been on fire. 10, 7, 8, 13, 1, and 15 over their last few games. Incredible work at the plate from a team that's been pretty bad, generally speaking. Got up to a hot start at the plate, really cooled off for the vast majority of the season. Seems like now they're back with a vengeance. So we'll see what they do on the road here against the Cardinals. St. Louis Did win 2 out of 3 against the Athletics, so well played there. They're still, 5.5 games back in the National League wildcard hunt, so a lot of work to do. They're handing the ball in this one to Michael McGreevy. He's 6-2 on the year, a 4.17 ERA. Coming off an excellent start there against the Reds, but struggled in starts against the Pirates and Marlins recently, so we'll see which version of him we get. He doesn't have any history against the Giants this year, but I'm a little bit worried about McGreevy. I'm not worried about the Cardinals bullpen. It's been fantastic. I'm not worried about their offense. 6-2, 3, 4, 4, and 7 over their last few. It's not amazing. This is more along the lines of an MLB average offense than a great offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Giants are minus 105. The Cardinals are minus 115. We've got a total of 8.5. The Giants are 36 and 35 on the road, 37, 29, and 5 to the over on the road. The Cardinals are 39 and 33 at home, 36, 32, and 4 to the over at home. Maybe you could lean towards over 8.5 in this game. I don't think that's crazy. That's probably my favorite lean. The side feels a bit coin flippy to me. I will take the Giants. They're the far hotter team right now, but no major lean on the side. I do think that over does have some value. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Boston Red Sox heading to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. The Red Sox going to have Anthony probably out for the rest of the regular season. That's not great. They did just win 2 out of 3 against the Guardians. They're 3.5 games back with Toronto in the AL East. They're going to hand the ball in this one to Peyton Toll. He comes into this game, this young 22-year-old left-handed phenom. He's made 1 start this season, and it went okay. 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs there against the Pirates. Okay, solid work there. We'll see if he can back that up with a good start against the Diamondbacks. It wasn't his fault that the Red Sox couldn't come up with any offense in this game. The Boston bullpen's been excellent this year. No question marks there. One of the best 2 or 3 bullpens in all of Major League Baseball. The offense, 1-11-6, 5-3, and 2 over their last few. Very inconsistent. They're 5th in runs scored, though. They're 4th in batting average. Over the course of the year, they've put up excellent numbers. So maybe they're in for another good offensive night here against the Diamondbacks. Arizona just won 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. We'll see. They just got approved for a $500 million renovation to their stadium, so that's got to feel nice. They're 1 game below 500, so not completely out of the race there in the National League, but not in it in a big way. They're going to hand the ball to Eduardo Rodriguez, who's 6 and 8 on the year, a 5.40 ERA. His last start, he shut out the Dodgers over 6 innings, giving up 4 hits and striking out 4 in a 6-1 win. That's very, very solid. Over his last 5 starts, we do see the Diamondbacks are 4-1, but there were a couple starts against the Rockies mixed in there, so we'll see what he does against a real team like the Dodgers. He hasn't faced the Dodgers this year, no major surprise there, but I do think he could be in for a bit of a surprise. Also, the Diamondbacks bullpen's been atrocious, one of the worst 4 or 5 bullpens in the majors, and the offense, 2.55, 4, 6, and 3 over their last few is not amazing, despite the fact they've still maintained pretty decent numbers ever since being, kind of gutted there at the trade deadline. So, looking at the numbers for this game, the Red Sox are minus 125, the Diamondbacks are plus 105. We've got a total of 8.5. Boston, 34 and 35 on the road, 37, 31, and 1 to the over on the road. Arizona's 36 and 33 at home, 33, 32, and 4 to the over at home. I will definitely take over 8.5. I think that's a very, very reasonable lean in this game. In terms of a side, I will take the Red Sox at minus 125, but not sure if anything from this game is going to make the pinned comment. Guys, that's all the games we have here for today. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I appreciate everyone watching. Make sure you click the link in the description to get over there to stumpthespread.com. Check out all the premium content over there. Definitely get on that free email list. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow on Saturday for a big NCAA football video and lots more sports betting action.